Hey guys, Dirt here, and we're doing something a little different today. I've got yet another camera setup here that we're going to try out. But you didn't come here to hear me talk about cameras or the stuff I'm using to record with. I just wanted to throw that out there because if it looks good and you think this works out well, please let me know, because then this will be another setup for me to use again in the future. But more importantly though, today we're here to talk about Hot Rod. And as you can see here in the photo tent, I've got Hot Rod from the Titans Return line. It's one of the Headmaster things. And honestly, I bought this guy a while ago, like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months, well, maybe even longer than that, to be honest. It's been quite a while that I've had this guy sitting here, and I've never opened him. I always held him in reserve, knowing one day I'd be recording another Formers Friday, and I'd save him for that, and that, luckily for you, today is the day. So, let's take a look here at the package. First of all, you can see the general shape of them. Inside the package looks like a hot rod, sure. And you can see the artwork here on the package down here. It has that hot rod car to him. So this is not Rodimus Prime. This is Hot Rod. And when we turn it over to the back, you've got your flip change here of what he looks like in his different forms. And then, of course, they've got the stuff on the side for some of the different guys available. 6-Shot, Breakaway, Prime. But this Headmaster guy, Firedrive, character I'm completely unfamiliar with. If he's existed before the making of this particular character, I'm not familiar with him. Nonetheless, though, I just noticed this. I don't know if this is on any other packaging or not. But let's take a look at something up here on the package. There are missiles coming in, getting ready to destroy Hot Rod. Is that on all the packaging? Have I never noticed that before, that these rockets are coming in to kill everybody? Oh well. Anyway, nonetheless, let's rip this guy open so we can get a look at the goods on the inside. Pull that out, pull out the instructions, and again, we've got this trading card. If I can get it out of this container. And the trading card, again, these trading cards, I don't know. I don't particularly care about them. I don't want to throw them away or anything like, silly as far as that goes, but I do generally just take them and throw them in a box with the instructions and forget about them. Sometimes they end up here on my desk in some random spot, that I'm not paying attention to, but I don't know, it's just weird. I never really cared for them, but there they are nonetheless. Alright, so Hot Rod himself in the package. Grab my scissors here and see if we can free him from the plastic bonds that have kept him held in here for way too long. Much longer than I anticipated. Actually, there were a couple times I almost opened this guy up just because I wanted to play with him. But no, told myself I'd have to wait. One day there'd be a show, I would need it. And that day is today. I always liked Hot Rod. I know there are a lot of people that didn't like him because he replaced Prime in the original movie. And I guess there's some stuff that happened in the comics. People didn't care for the character, but honestly, I always did. I always thought he was a cool guy. Man, these joints are... Oh, I see. There's a thing to hold them. That's why they're stiff. And this should flip up, right? Oh, it goes this way. Oh, funky. All right. So here is our... I'm not really sure what to do with those shoulders in a situation like this. Those shoulders are... The joints here in the shoulders where they can move, they have that adjustable joint there, and I'm never quite sure how they're supposed to look when they're set like that. I guess I could take a quick look at the instructions here, see if there's anything that they say when you're transforming him, but it doesn't really look like it. It's funny to me how, and they'll give you instructions, right, to do these things, and they're not the easiest thing to follow. A lot of times they're somewhat difficult to follow, and you have a hard time figuring out, where exactly a character is supposed to go, what he's supposed to be doing. But they give you these instructions, and they show you how to transform the Headmaster in 3 moves. And then they show you how to put the Headmaster sitting in the cockpit of Hot Rod when he's the car. It's like 5 levels of instruction. You have the car. You have to open the canopy. You have to pick up the figure. You have to put the figure in. You have to close the canopy. Then you have the car with the guy inside. It's just, of all the things that they forget to put in instructions a lot of times, and that's the one that they remember. Oh, Hot Rod has a second gun here, by the way. I almost left in the package and forgot about. So, put that in his other hand. And here is Hot Rod. Now, Hot Rod feels, he's 100% plastic. Like, there's nothing, there's nothing in him that has any sort of weight to it. He is completely hollowed out, complete plastic, and he feels cheap. He feels light. He feels very much like a kid would break him. Like I'll probably end up accidentally breaking him at some point. But for as cheap and as light as he feels, you know, the joints are loose. They actually move around okay. And the one thing that, of course, you anytime you have these Headmasters, you're always going to have this problem. There's no way to get away from them, and that's the head. The head is very thick, and it has that extra, you know, bit on the back where your robot is folded over. And there's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. But it does make him look a little funky sometimes. And I don't know, is that... The head itself looks a little off to me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's nobody else. I don't know. I'm going to pull this camera up and try to get a little closer in on the head here. And I don't know. The head just looks a little off. There's something about it. And I understand, you know, you've got the Headmaster pieces that are sticking out from the back that make it look like he's got, you know, Batman ears or something going on there, which is probably not the intent. That was not the idea that they were going for. I don't know. Something about that look, just, it's off. I can't explain it. It's off. I'd probably have to Google up a bunch of pictures to figure it out. But nonetheless, all right. So we've taken him out. He's kind of cheap feeling because of the plastic and how hollow he is. But the joints move nice. I think overall the sculpt of it looks pretty good. It's a little funky looking at his wings in the back because of this little piece here that doesn't quite let it close up the right size. Is this even further adjustable? Can I move that up anymore? Can I get that out of the way? Nope, doesn't look like it. So that's as far as it's going to go. That's as close as it gets. So that is a little weird, but nonetheless, it's okay. All right, I'm going to take a quick scan of these instructions, see if there's anything particularly special about transforming them. No, it looks pretty basic for the most part. Okay. This is the part I always hate doing, is transforming them right in front of you guys. And I'm not doing this live anymore, am I? No, this is edited. This is pre-recorded, so I can do, through the magic of video editing, we have our transformed car. And here's Hot Rod in his alt mode, his car form. And there's Firedrive in his little gunship thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for right now, let's take a look at the main guy, Hot Rod, here. I think he actually looks pretty good in this form. The wheels roll, he's got the long pipes, he's got the spoiler, you know, everything that he's supposed to have. The engine here in the front looks a little goofy because it actually plays in with this gunship thing. So I don't know, it just looks weird the way it is, but they've tried to cover up the best they can. But, you know, overall, I think the look of this guy is actually pretty good. This is a very good alt mode for putting on your shelf, and instantly anybody who sees it is going to know, hey, that's Hot Rod. That's who he is. So that was actually pretty awesome. Now, the thing is, as I was saying earlier, it is very cheap feeling because of the plastic. And when I was transforming him, it did feel a couple times when things weren't snapping together quite right that if I had pushed just a little bit harder, it probably would have snapped and broken. You don't get that a lot on a lot of the new Transformers. The way everything slots and tabs and, you know, locks together usually feels pretty good. This one felt like it could have broken. Like if I had bought this for a small child, who wanted to play with Transformers, I have a pretty good feeling this is one of the ones that would end up broken. Some of the joints are just very small and very weak. Not a lot you can do about that, but anyway, that is the toy industry the way it is today. Now, the canopy here is the only thing that to me looks really weird. And it's just the way, if you look at the inside here, you can see that there's a small square hole, and there's a little tab here on the canopy, and it's supposed to fit down in there to hold it into place, and it doesn't quite seem like it really wants to stick in there. Like, it'll fit. Like, if you push it hard enough, it'll go down into that spot, but it feels like that spot may be just a little too tight, and it just doesn't really want to stay in there. And when you shove it in there to try to get it to hold, then it's almost impossible to pull it back out. And I don't really have, fingernails. I tend to chew my nails pretty low. So, I've got a hard time getting in there to, try to get it open. But otherwise, the overall look, I think, is actually pretty good. Now, Firedrive here, the Hot Rod's guns come together and make like this little gunship. And you can, fly it around. Woo! Pew, pew, pew! Yay, look at me, I'm flying. Pew, pew, pew! Through outer space. But the little tabs down here on the bottom actually hook into the engine here on the front. So you can stick him like this, and now he's, I don't know, like he's jousting or something. Or like, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, seriously. Let's look at that for a minute. That does not make any sense at all. Now, if you have him inside in the canopy, and then you've got this giant gun on the front, that still looks pretty ridiculous. And especially because it's going to have this big hollow area right here in the middle. So, I don't know. I don't particularly like that look. But we open this up, and we drop Firedrive in there, and he doesn't want to fit there. Let's try it. Nope, he still doesn't want to. There we go. All right, now he fits down in there. So then you take these gun things. Like I said, you can put them back on there, or you split them back apart, and you can plug them into these holes that are down here by the wheels. And now Hot Rod has these giant guns for shooting out at everybody. Which, again, looks silly, but I guess if you're, like, in a battle mode, whatever. But what do you do when you just want him to look like the car? I don't see any other spot to put them. A lot of times on figures like this, they make a spot where you can put them underneath and they look like, exhaust pipes coming out. And they don't give you that on this, which is kind of annoying. I really wish there was a good spot somewhere underneath where you could, tuck these away so that you're really just looking at the car form. The only thing you could really do is put them into the little gunship thing and then stick Firedrive in them and set them, somewhere nearby on the shelf so it's not actually a part of the car. Just leave the car for how he is, if that's how you're going to display him. I don't know, just one of those weird things, as a collector, as a guy who is always putting stuff on the shelves nearby, trying to make things look pretty and fancy and schmancy and whatever. I just wish there was a better way of doing that. But, like I said, overall, it's good. It rolls well. So this is one that's actually playable. For those of us that still play with our toys, then that makes it, a fun little guy to have as part of your shelf. The one weird thing, and that is these little, I don't know, nipples. I don't know what exactly you want to call these little nubs up here. I thought it was that you would take Firedrive and you'd stick them on here and there was one for each foot, but they're a little too far apart for one for each foot. You can put them on there and stick another one on the other side, so they're both kind of falling off the edge back here, but that doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. You could put one here and put another one here, and they can face each other, and it can look like they're making out while they're standing on him and he's driving, but that doesn't... There must be some other feature of these. I mean, it can't just be that you stick these guys on here like this, right? There's got to be something else to it. I know a lot of times Hasbro forgets to, put all the different instructions in here, and so people have to mess around with stuff, and eventually they figure out, oh, something else, like tabs on right there. I'm sure there's got to be something more than that, because, I don't know, just having those little nipples sitting there for absolutely no reason other than to make your robot stand on him in that spot just doesn't seem to make any sense. I mean, honestly, if you were going to have a spot where the guy's going to stand, it would make more sense to put a little foot peg here, maybe, or even back here in the spoiler. Why not? But I don't know. That's just just seems weird to me. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, so overall, I like this guy. Thumbs up for this guy. I wish the plastic was a little thicker, was a little stronger. He would stand up to a little more, playtime and whatever. But for what it is, for how he works together, I think he's fine. And he's a great, as one of those, base level, average style Transformers. He's not going to blow anybody away, with the extra alt modes and interactivity or anything like that. But he's a good, solid, reimagining of a classic Transformer, and I like him a lot. So, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to go to popculturenetwork.com. Check out all the other great stuff we have. If you want to leave a voicemail message, you can call our 24-hour voicemail line. It's area code 217-953-4025. You can go to thatnewtoysmell.com to check out just the toy stuff. You can go to ineedcomics.com, check out all of our comic book stuff. Don't forget to find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Tumblr, on I don't know, wherever else we have stuff. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.